What's up, my friends? I pray you're blessed that you are standing strong in your faith. So here's the question. Should we buy into the 1619 Project? I'm going to give you 5 reasons as to why we shouldn't. Let's start with the creator first. Her name is Nikole Hannah-Jones. She's a reporter of the New York Times. She's not an American historian. She doesn't claim to be, but she's the one who spearheaded this project. And when it came out in 2019, a lot of reputable scholarly American historians came out and they were refuting it. And so in 2021, like a second edition came out, and you thought that they would address all of these major concerns, but just like they disregarded it the first time, they clearly did it, and it was way more attentional the second time. It had a few concessions, but nothing major. So let's start with reason number 1, and that has to do with the altering of America's birth date. You see, what we have to understand is that Miss Hannah-Jones and her contributors, they assert that the beginning of the U.S. was not 1776, not the signing of the Declaration of Independence that started this nation on its course that we know of morality and hospitality and religious freedom and equal rights. No, it was 1619. And you think, what's 1619? Well, they say this was the start when a ship with 20 African slaves came ashore to North America to go into the colony of Virginia, and they say that was the beginning of American history, that America was all about slavery from the beginning. So we need to mark our origination, our birth date, if you will, of our country there, and not 1776. Well, the reality is, you guys, if you actually look at the opening of the 1619 Project, Silverstein there, he wrote it was an effort to refrain American history by considering what it would mean to regard 1619 as our nation's birth year. So clearly right there, they exposed their agenda. It was rewriting history. They knew that that was not the actual date. They know that, but they're saying, what would it be? What would it be like if it was? That's a revisionist approach, you guys. That's undermining American history. The 1619 Project takes blatant liberties in the effort or the attempt to present a formation of the U.S. on slavery to make it seem like our founders were white supremacists, okay, that capitalism is evil because the slave trade is what fed and built this nation, not belief in God, not in the order of natural rights and natural law, and not the fighting and preservation of equal rights, that every human being is made in the image of God, that there was a belief in God, the creator. They don't mention any of that. So that's a major problem, which leads to the second problem with the 1619 Project, a lack of documentation. You see, the project produces, catch this, very few documentations, very few sources. As an author, when I work with a publisher, I go through an editorial team and a legal team, ensuring that I am citing things correctly and also producing sources to back up my claims. You guys, when it comes to the 1619 Project, we don't have that. Even Leslie Harris, in an article she wrote on Political, states that she had many concerns over the use of many of the incorrect statements and advised that they be addressed before this project went to print. Did they heed her? No. They tossed out any of the opinions that Leslie Harris had. You're thinking, well, why does that matter? Well, because guess what? Dr. Harris, she's a professor of history at Northwestern. She actually is an expert in African life and slavery. And the only reason why Hannah-Jones and her team sent it over was just to say, oh, we sent it to credible people. Yeah, but you didn't consider any of the corrections that she advised that you guys do. Matter of fact, even Dr. Gordon Wood, who's a professor emeritus at Brown University, stated that not one reputable American scholar from the American Revolution to the Civil War was consulted. So what does that tell you? It tells us that the 1619 Project traffics in falsehoods. Even the New York Times came out after receiving an open letter from reputable American scholars, and they told them, hey, we appreciate your guys' concern, but we're not going to change anything because we don't think we need to. Why? Because they believe they produced it according to proper journalism and historical understanding of America. Which leads us to our third point, and it has to do with blatant agenda. The 1619 Project is written and distributed, guys, by people who genuinely hate America. It's not about American principles. They want to strip that out of history. They want to take it away from history. Why? So they can replace it with critical race theory. That's an agenda, you guys. That is not history, which leads us to number 4, promoting riots, which ultimately, in many cases, you guys, can lead to violence, to deadly actions. And this is something that we have to consider when we're having these discussions. Matter of fact, the New York Post reported that the 1619 Project helped inspire riots in the streets throughout America. And guess what the general editor, guess what the creator of the 1619 Project said? She said on social media, "It would be an honor. Thank you." What does that tell you? That tells you that this is about promoting riots. This is about burning houses, burning buildings, and sadly, in many cases, the loss of life. Now, I'm not saying that Hannah-Jones is promoting that, but she is clearly promoting riots because that was one of the agendas that she had in producing this. Guys, that is dangerous, which leads us to our final reason why we shouldn't buy into the 1619 Project, because it undermines America's founding documents. Now, this is something that Peter Wood, he is an expert. He wrote a book called 1620, A Critical Response to the 1619 Project. And he exposes all these lies and goes in greater detail than I can in this video. But this is what he says. He points out that the 1619 Project, he says, makes the case that the Declaration of Independence is about advancing slavery. Are you kidding me? Our founding documents to the Bill of Rights, to the Constitution, my friends, even if you look at what James Madison and John Jay and Alexander Hamilton had to say in a lot of their early writings, they pointed out that it's about equal rights for the people. And so what role does the government have in protecting these natural rights that are God-given? Instead, the 1619 Project says, no, those documents are about slavery. It's about preserving slavery. You guys, that is a complete and total dismantle of our founding documents and efforts to reconstruct it with something like critical race theory. So the next time you're having a discussion or you hear somebody who's trying to support and proclamate the brilliance of the 1619 Project, you can use these 5 points. Because here's the thing. We need to fight racism. Racism is a moral evil. We know that slavery is inherently evil. No one should be treated that way. But to blame America and to say that America was built on slavery is absolutely and totally false. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, keep standing strong.